Remember, folks, I'm just a Muppet in a chair. Don't take me seriously. Hello, Boomerites. What's going on? Hope you're doing well. I got a reaction for you today. This is from Graham, who's sending in a QI reaction for me to do. This is America. Did you know? Facts about America you may not know. So, I'm probably going to learn some things from my friends across the pond. QI, from the clips I've seen of QI, it seems like a fun show. Very fun show. I've also mentioned that it seems a bit cerebral, and that and that it was, for me, it seemed kind of intimidating because I felt like you really had to be smart to get a lot of the things on this show. But I've been reassured from a lot of you that you don't have to be smart. It's more of a fun, banner show, which is awesome, and it's good because I'm dumb. So. Anyway, hopefully I learned some stuff about my own country from you guys in this show. So, like, subscribe, do whatever you guys want. And let's check it out. Here we go.
Where are 1% of American adults?
Oh, I imagine we could find out, couldn't we? We could use Google Earth, because some of them are quite big. There's one. He's got his own postcode.
We got some big ones over here, yeah.
What's the population? It's about
300 million, isn't it?
So you're talking about between 2.5 and 3 million, say?
Jail.
Yes. G for jail. English spelling of jail. Of course,
yeah, that makes sense.
G for jail.
Really, that many people? 3 million people are locked up?
Well, 2.3, which is 1 in every 99.1 adults.
All of those guys there are innocent as well, because they all were arrested for having switchblades, but they've all only got one arm.
Well spotted.
Nice, Jimmy.
Proportionally, the Americans imprison more than twice as many as South Africans, more than 3 times as many as the Iranians, more than 6 times as many as the Chinese. No society in history has imprisoned more of its citizens than the United States of America.
We do pretty well, though, don't we? We sort of top the European League.
We're ahead of China, Turkey, and India.
Yes.
Yeah, with 148 prisoners per 100,000.
It's the 3 strike.
148 per 100,000. Now, that doesn't come anywhere close to us. But it seems like you guys might be leading the pack in Europe or something. I don't know. But, yeah, I did know that a lot of us are... what's the Jim Jeffries joke? The land of the free. But most of your citizens are locked up. We got a lot of troublemakers over here. We do. And our justice system isn't the best.
And there are
that's been really the problem, yeah.
I mean, a legal system based on baseball just seems bizarre. Yes. People don't seem to understand the law. It's all very complicated. What's simple? What do people like? Baseball. Right then. Here's the rule.
3 strikes and you're out, yeah.
Mental.
What it means is if the first 2 strikes, the first 2 crimes you're convicted of are serious enough, the third one, no matter how trivial, will get a life sentence, 25 years or more. So, for example, Leandro Andrade is serving 2 consecutive 25-year terms for shoplifting 9 videotapes.
He took 9?
Yes. Kevin Webber, 26 years for stealing 4 chocolate chip cookies. It's astonishing.
It's really stupid, isn't it? Because if you know you're on this sort of deal...
Yes.
Yeah.
Take 5.
Yes.
Right.
That is the idea.
Do another murder. Do a bank job. There's no point...
There's no point doing anything trivial.
If
No,
you're
I know.
going to get caught.
It is a bit bonkers. But the racial numbers are a bit worrying. And the gender numbers, it's 1 in 30 men aged 20 to 34 is behind bars. But for black males, that's 1 in 9. 1 in 9. There are more 17-year-old black people in jail than in college in America. So 5% of the world are American, 25% of all prisoners
Isn't the real
are American.
controversy with this the business end of it?
Well, that's true. It's also, as you say, right, it is a business.
Because it's not just license plate, they make loads of stuff.
Well, one of the things I should have said when talking about contraband is that you're not allowed to bring into America anything that's been made by forced labour or prisons. But in America, you can almost say, if you are so minded, that they've reinvented the slave trade. They produce, for example, 100% of all military helmets, ammunition belts, bulletproof vests, ID tags and other items of uniform, 93% of domestically produced paints, 36% of home appliances, 21% of office furniture, which allows the United States to compete with factories in Mexico because, of course, obviously the workers can't refuse to work for 25 cents an hour.
I'd very much like to say something hilarious, but something must be done.
It is.
I agree. I didn't know all that. I did know that we have a lot of people locked up over here, more than anybody else in the world, I think. Could be wrong, but I think it's definitely like top 10, if not number 1. But the facts that stephenfry just laid out, that was 100% of military helmets, belts, things like that, 21% of office furniture. I had no idea about that. That is wild. So yeah, it's a business. That's insane. And I would, something's got to be done. I don't know what, but, whew, man.
It feels a bit more question timey to say.
It is a bit amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's extraordinary.
Yeah.
It's slavery by the back door.
Exactly, wasn't it?
Which is another video that I've got.
Greeks used it for earache. Columbus took 80 tons of it to America, and Henry VIII made it compulsory. What am I talking about?
Oh, hang on a second. What's the theme of the show? It's joints?
Yes.
I'm going to guess marijuana.
Marijuana is the right answer. And cannabis, yes.
So he took 80 tons to America?
Yes.
You're saying that he's
Columbus
a
did.
trafficker? Saying Columbus is a drug trafficker?
He must have had a very big sphincter.
That joke was pretty enormous.
Pretty nervous when you got a customer, I would imagine.
Well, as you probably know, cannabis plant is also used for the creation of hemp and ropes. He had tons of it just on his ship alone of rope made from hemp. And also it was made under King James, it was made compulsory for the colonials to grow it and to use it. They mostly wore hemp clothing. And hemp was used as an oil, as a lubricant, and all kinds of things. As you can buy hemp oil now. But by the middle of the 19th century, cannabis was recommended by the US Pharmacopoeia for the following disorders: neuralgia, tetanus, typhus, cholera, rabies, dysentery, alcoholism, anthrax, leprosy, incontinence, snakebite, gout, tonsillitis, and insanity.
That seemed to be a list of pretty much everything, though. I would imagine if you went into the chemist, it sounds like they only had one thing. What have you got? One, I'll have a think.
Well, there's a Greek word for that, panacea, a cure-all, literally. And so they did more or less think it was a panacea, as they did so many drugs, as they did heroin when that came out, and cocaine.
Well, in defence of both of those, it will take the edge off.
But there are still people who believe it. People are very keen for the legalization of medicinal marijuana.
It seems weird that we haven't got medicinal marijuana, but we've got medicinal heroin.
Yes, isn't
That's
it?
kind of an odd quirk, isn't it?
I suppose so, except that, of course, there is no real painkiller available except the one that we get from the poppy.
That's actually this is very interesting stuff, that the hemp thing, because I think, I could be wrong, like I'm not an expert on anything, okay? So remember, I'm just muppet in a chair, and I like to talk from time to time. But hemp, it was used so much throughout history, and now I feel like it's not used. It's used for hardly anything now, and there's almost like, there's hardly any products out there that you can actually like buy at a store that are made from hemp nowadays. Isn't that weird? I mean, I guess it's because it's associated with marijuana, but that's just very interesting, because from what he said, that it was used for so many different things, and it seemed like it was something that was necessary. But now it's, you'd be hard pressed to find stuff made of hemp in stores, I think. At least I think. I'm not out there going to look for things made out of hemp. Maybe I should. Maybe I should look into see what I can get for my own personal use, as long as I'm not smoking anything, because I've never been a weed smoker. But it sounds like it could be useful for a lot of things.
Which includes morphine and heroin. We just can't make a drug that does the same thing.
Mummy's hugs.
Mummy's hugs and kisses. Sweetheart.
Hugs.
That's so
And
lovely.
then if they don't work, heroin.
I think you've got it spot on the money, Jack. Absolutely.
What's so darn shocking about this map?
Is darn important?
Darn is very
Thing?
important,
So
yes.
is it to do with knitting?
Knitting?
No, not
Weaving.
that kind of darn, where in the United States, what might darn be for?
Darn.
Darn.
People who say darn.
Yes, people who say darn. It's a euphemism for damn from 1781, and this is its jizz score, okay? It's statistics, people, okay? There was an analysis done of 9 billion words
9 billion
in American
ejaculations.
tweets.
Blue's bad, but orange is really bad.
9 billion words in American tweets, and then they geocoded them, so they analysed where they are, pinpointing on a map, and then they displayed them as heat maps. So this is darn, and if you look at the more the word is used, the darker the red colour, and the less it's used, the darker the blue. So it shows that darn is used very heavily in the northern central states, well, in tweets at the very least. So have a look at this one. What word do you think this map represents? There's another American swear word.
Golly.
You're close, it's gosh.
Gosh.
It's gosh.
Sure it is.
So heavily used around Texas, you can see where the red is, and hardly at all up in New England. They don't use gosh very much.
Quite like that.
I like these ones.
Is this words that people use when they jizz? Is that what it is?
Gosh, I tell you. Darn.
Darn.
Darn. Man, that was a good sex session right there. Gosh, geez, golly.
Sorry, Miss
Torn
Ellen.
up, man. This show's changing, isn't it?
I just noticed that was
Wrestle it
Jeremy
back.
Clarkson.
So have a look at this one. Very heavily used in New England, hardly used in the southeast at all.
God damn.
It's asshole.
Asshole.
Yeah. That, and who thought
Why
there
do
was
they
a...
not use it? They don't.
Really? Asshole's not used in the South very much? I find that very hard to believe. I find that very hard to believe. Look at the South. It's just blue. Dark blue. That's shocking to me. I feel like it should be red all over, honestly. But anyway.
Asshole in Arkansas.
Georgia.
Or the Carolinas.
Yeah, not used in Florida.
It's not used in Montana because there's nobody there.
That's true. It's not often you see a map of the jizz score for arsehole, is it? It's not a...
Not now Stephen's gone.
So here's the question is, do you think that people who swear a
I like her shirt. Oh!
lot are more articulate or less articulate?
More.
Why?
Because they've got more words.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Wank and bloody and things like that. People who don't swear
You would-
haven't got those words.
You were doing so well, and now you're going to hardly appear in the programme at all. No, there's a swearing fluency test, and if you do the test and you ask people to write down how many swear words they can think of in 2 minutes, the people who will succeed best are the people who are the most articulate, although it depends on what language you speak. So Japanese, very, very few swear words.
Dutch bar G's. They can swear uninterrupted, most of them, for 2 minutes without repetition or hesitation.
Can they really?
Yeah, Dutch is really good. They've got, what's that word? Schwaffling.
What does it mean?
Well, you certainly couldn't say it on Dutch television. It means to bang your penis against the Taj Mahal.
No. No, it does not. That's too specific. That sounds like a quote you'd hear in, like, fucking Anchorman. Or Ron Burgundy would say something like that. Oh, excuse me. We got someone who wants to get out of here. I guess Nora heard that word and was like, I'm out of here. She didn't like that Dutch word.
Who amongst us hasn't had that urge?
Gentlemen, hate Shakespeare. There's a picture of American farmers hating Shakespeare. Something to do with Shakespeare caused immense trouble to American farming. It's not Shakespeare's fault at all.
Not some farming practice that's hidden away in the sonnets or something.
It was an eccentric drug manufacturer called Eugene Schieffelin, and he decided that America should contain examples of every bird species named in the works of Shakespeare. And one particular species didn't exist in America. And he thought, oh, I'll introduce these. He introduced 100 to Central Park, and there are now estimated something like 200 million of
It's
them.
not the
Pigeons?
common pigeon, is it?
No, they come in huge flocks.
Geese,
Starlings.
ducks.
Starlings is the right answer.
Starlings.
Starlings.
And they don't like them because they eat the seeds.
Unfortunately, what they do is they befoul everything in their droppings that they don't eat. They're such huge flocks. Vast flocks.
I was on Brighton Pier one time,
Yeah.
and there are lots of starlings there, and at dusk they do that.
They're beautiful.
And it's really
Yeah.
amazing to watch.
Yeah, it's a
if you
wonderful
stand on the
sight.
pier. And then someone said that starlings come from hundreds of miles away to join in
The
this
flock.
coastal flocking.
Yeah.
And they come from as far away as Germany and Poland.
A
and
lot
fly
of the Polish
around
ones are
and-
coming over here now and taking away a lot of the... a lot of the British starlings' jobs. As you'll see a lot of British starlings just sat on the prom like this, come bloody typical.
Yeah, but they're the lazy British starlings. They don't want to
Yeah,
work.
why don't they just get up and join in, you know? But they won't, will they? It's typical, typical.
That's actually anytime you introduce any type of species to a land where they're not from, it always causes chaos. It's like that whole man interfering with nature thing, man.
You're right, the flocks are up to 1 million, some of them. I mean, enormous flocks.
Are they just having fun? Or is it a good way of eating?
No, in the case of fish, I know that what they're really doing is presenting, as it were, an enormous fish that sort of glistens and frightens some predators, and in other cases it confuses and dazzles. And they're a lot safer than...
Starlings are basically scared of sharks.
I'm not so sure about the
shark
shocking...
might leap out of the West Pier.
You may laugh, but when was a starling last killed by a shark?
That's true.
So it works. You're absolutely right. It's 100%. It is 100% starkly proven that this shall keep us safe from sharks. Come on, boys. Fum! And they're like that.
So, good, excellent. Starlings were brought to America in an attempt to introduce all the birds in Shakespeare to the US. They're now a major pest.
So they were brought over, not even to like combat another species that's causing havoc. They were just brought in because they wanted all of Shakespeare's birds in one place. That sounds like an American thing we would do. Oh, man. I'll tell you what, I really like this show. It seems not only funny with the banner and everything, but educational as well. Because there were some things that I knew, but most of it, no. No, I think the main thing I knew was a lot of the prison stuff in the beginning. But most of the rest of it, no. Interesting stuff. And it's good to see some of my favorite faces in there. Like David Mitchell, Jimmy Carr. Jack Whitehall was in there. Jeremy Clarkson was in there. And of course, Stephenfry. So, good stuff. It still blows me away that, like, when you try to reintroduce, like, a species in there to... And it's usually for, like, a benefit. I don't think I've never heard of somebody bringing over a species because you wanted Shakespeare's birds all in one place. But, you know... I imagine that there, for instance, when Queen Boomer went to Hawaii a couple years ago, she came back and told me that the island has what's the plural form of this? Mongooses everywhere. They have an infestation of mongooses, but they were introduced on the islands to get rid of some other animal. I think they brought them in to get rid of the rat problem that they had over there, or the mice problem. I don't know, something like that. But as a consequence, what the mongooses did is they killed all the snakes because they're expert snake killers, and so now all the snakes are gone, or at least heavily diminished. And now there's not enough snakes to kill the rats as well. So all the mongooses are there. They're not killing the rats and mice. They're killing all the snakes. So it just goes... I'm always amazed that whenever they try to introduce an animal to an area, they do it for a reason and they don't think of the consequences of it. I feel like... Because isn't there... I've read that Europe actually has a problem. I think the UK has a problem too with... two aquatic species, the blue crab and the American crawfish. They're in a lot of rivers and, river basins in Europe. I've heard that they're in Greece and Italy. And I know from that, what was that one movie reaction I did, Rock and Rolla, that one of the ways that one of the characters was going to be killed was by dumping him in a thing of crawfish, and he was doing a whole diatribe about explaining how the American crawfish got to the UK, and so we're not alone in making these dumb decisions with introducing animals in a habitat that they're not supposed to be in. I always find that amazing, and I'm dumbfounded on how people would think that's a good idea, because it always turns out bad. It always has an effect that they don't want, Anyway, I always find that stuff interesting. This is a very interesting show. Quite interesting. Very apt name. Anyway, I'm dragging on too long, but I really, every time I watch a clip of this, I'm like, man, I feel like I should watch this not just for the humor, but to actually learn things as well. Very interesting show. But again, you guys have great shows across the pond, I must say. Anyway, I'm out of here. Much love. Who was it that sent it? I think it was Graham, right? Yeah, thank you, Graham, for sending this in. Like, subscribe, do whatever you guys want, and I'll see you again soon. Have a great day.